What's up, guys? It's Ash. I'm doing my next dig, which is on something called the Chronovisor. But first, when I started digging on this, I found something called the Chronoscope, which preceded the Chronovisor, and that's where I sort of fell into a separate rabbit hole, which I'll get into in a second. Um, so just real quick, the Chronoscope apparently, allegedly, was invented by Frank Friedman Oppenheimer, which you know the name Oppenheimer, of course. And the principle of the chronoscope is based on the theory that every light particle or photon is unique, that it has what you might call timestamp, and that it will exist eternally. In other words, light particles are identifiable because each particle has a unique key, and that unique key relates to a certain point in time. By grouping, sorting, and filtering on a certain time period, it is possible to view that certain time period. Oppenheimer devised the so-called Oppenheimer time equation, which allowed him to put the theory into practice by creating the chronoscope. In contradiction to what some people might think, the chronoscope is not a time machine, it is a time viewer. Of course, it is only possible to look into the past, although some experiments gave indications that looking into the future is also possible. Oppenheimer was working on a revision of his Oppenheimer time equation to include that future possibility. His death in '95 has halted research into that direction. And this is apparently like some possible early incantations of that device. Now, what I had heard also about this years ago is that that's in fact what happened. Is somebody in the Vatican or some scientist, which I'll get into in a second, started to mess around with that equation, or that equation was maybe out already. I'm not sure of the backstory, but they created a way to look into the future also, as well as the past, and that was the new device called the Chronovisor. But before I get into that, when I was looking into the chronoscope, I came across this documentary about the Irish scientist Charlotte Keppel, who in the 30s invented a machine that could see into the past, which seems like it's this machine. Now, I don't know if this was like a mockumentary, because I saw something else that was a mockumentary about this. But when I started to look into this person, it seems like there was an author of the same name, and I couldn't find much other information about this woman that's related to this machine, but I did find something that was on a site where I couldn't access. So there's not too much information about this particular person. So I started to think that maybe, if one angle could be that she's the one that created it, and then of course Oppenheimer and more powerful people stole that from her, and either by force or some other way, and they messed with the technology and they made it their own. And then later, the story goes that I heard was that the chronovisor came about, which was invented by the Vatican priest Father Pellegrino Ernetti. The principle of the chronovisor is more or less the same as that of the chronoscope, as the inventor described it. Sights and sounds of the past will never disappear, they will float around forever. There is no scientific theory that will prove the principle of the chronovisor like the chronoscope, and I have not been able to find more detail about a theory that would back it up. Despite that, I've been able to recover and reconstruct two beautiful examples which apparently could work. The only living thing I can tell you is that they seem to do something, although I have no solid proof. So again, it's like we're not sure if they had this yet. What I had heard was that they had created something called, that this was like later became the spyglass tech, which they used to look into the future to see possible outcomes. And then, of course, if you're talking about people that can maybe have time travel tech, I don't know, they can go back and try to, have different outcomes and affect the future. Another rumor I had heard about the spyglass tech a long time ago was that when they kept looking past a certain point, they couldn't see anything. The bad guys, which meant that their plans wouldn't work. Every time they tried to look forward after a certain point to see if their nefarious plan would work, it wouldn't work. There was no outcome that looked like it would come true. So uh, I heard that that was the rumor, that they had like disassembled, taken these all apart. There was one in Iraq, and that's what the whole Iraq thing was about. That was what the rumors were floating around when I was back in the day during the Iraq War, that I remember hearing about spyglass tech and stuff like that. Um, so we're not really sure if this exists. Does it? Is it in the Vatican somewhere and they do have it? Uh, So I looked up some other articles about the chronovisor, and the story goes that according to French priest and paranormal author Francois Brune, the chronovisor was a device owned by the Vatican which allowed people to view events in the past or future. Brune's 2002 book, The Vatican's New Mystery, alleges that the chronovisor was built in the 50s by Italian scientist and priest Father Pellegrino Maria Ernetti, along with 12 world-renowned scientists. Among the scientists named by Father Ernetti were Nobel laureate and physicist Enrico Fermi and rocket scientist Werner von Braun. So, if that's true, I mean, this guy's got some major, like, the greatest scientist of his day, basically. And by the way, von Braun was part of the, paperclip. So we knew where he was in, the United States and other places after the war. We know that. Chronovisor has been described as a large cabinet with antenna made from alloys of unknown metals, a connected cathode ray tube, and a control panel of buttons and levers. According to the Vatican's New Mystery, Father Ernetti claimed that the chronovisor could be programmed to view and record specific times, locations, and even people in the past or future. Father Ernetti further claimed that the chronovisor functioned by processing electromagnetic radiation residue from past events. Father Ernetti purported to have personally seen a number of important historical events with the chronovisor, the most notable being the crucifixion of Christ. In '72, the May issue of Italian weekly news magazine La Domenica del Corriere Sunday, published a photo depicting the crucifixion and claimed that it had been taken with the chronovisor. Father Ernetti denied this, citing the photo's clarity and proximity as uncharacteristic of the chronovisor's photographic capabilities. The photo later revealed to be strikingly similar to a reverse image of a wood carving by sculptor Culo Valera. So again, we don't know if this thing is real. They look like there was an attempt. I do have that photo, that article in the newspaper that appeared, um, and I have some other articles here. The Chronovisor, Vatican's mysterious time travel device, uh, and so was it real? We're not sure, but if it is, it's going to be in the Vatican's vault somewhere. And this is the article here that was published years ago in the newspaper. Who invents a machine that can photograph the past? That sounds like it is. That's my rough Italian translation. And also alleged in the article that dozens of scientists created an artifact that allowed them to photograph the past and even witness important historical accounts. So this was like the photo that they claimed. That turned out that probably wasn't real. Uh, but I've seen some other photos, and here's a diagram. Excuse me, a rough diagram of what they thought the device how it would run and how it works. And so, it's an interesting thing. And did you know that, by the way, uh, talking about the Vatican and their telescope, it's called Lucifer. Lucifer is helping Vatican astronomers look for extraterrestrials. So, uh, you know, if they were really looking, they could see the ships that are already here, and that's why they turned. I heard allegedly that why they turned off all the. At one point, you heard that all the observatories got shut down, and that was why. Because like if they would start to train their telescopes at the sun, they could see the portal and they could see ships coming in and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's true, but that's the rumors that I heard. And here's like the picture that some people say is the picture of that was taken, and here's like a possible an alleged photo of the device. Again, I don't know if that's really it, but that's an alleged photo of what it might look like and how it might work. And this is supposedly supposed to be Jesus Christ here, if you believe that. I'm not sure what to believe. Um, I had heard about this device many, many years ago, also being called the spyglass. So, but then again, I had also heard that the spyglass was something that you could see into the spiritual world with and see like angels. So I'm not sure now. Who knows? The Vatican could have multiple magical things in the vault or secret items that from history that we don't know exist. So could this be one of them? Maybe. Yeah, we're not sure. We're going to wait and see. We know that people have been inventorying the Vatican vaults from what I heard and found a lot of gold and other things and money. So we'll see. Maybe some things like this will come out. Many documents are in there and stuff. Here's another thing about the article. In the 60s, Father Ernetti began to study the writings of Francois Brune, himself a Roman Catholic priest. Ernetti allegedly ended up helping Father Brune construct a machine as members of a team which included 12 scientists. So, did they make this machine? We're not sure. You could backtrack it yourself. Uh, I tried to find more stuff about Charlotte Keppel, this woman who may have also been the original inventor of it. I'm not sure. I can't find much about her except stuff about writing stuff. So I did. Wait, here's something. Spiritual forums, the Chronoscope. Let's see what this is real quick. Yeah, not too much info here. Somehow on my various misadventures, I stumbled upon a device like a TV set which displays images of the past based on residual energy. And then this is a link to the YouTube thing. Yeah, so it's not, is that YouTube thing a mockumentary or real? I couldn't tell. So you can go look it up if you want. And anyway, that's my dig on the Chronoscope and the Chronovisor. Was this tech developed? Is there a chronoscope where they've been using this tech to look into the future and try to, and did this cause the Mandela effect when maybe they did something somehow and went back in time if they have that technology and messed around? And, that was the other, like, rumor that I heard that maybe uh, this tech was the thing that caused, the Mandela effect to happen. So let's watch this trailer real quick since we have it right here and see if it'll come up. I don't know. Maybe we could get some info on this. A documentary about a beautiful scientist who invents a machine that can look into the past. The Chronoscope.
Dem Landvolk im Namen des Führers für die Sicherstellung der deutschen Ernährung. Klar und nüchtern.
I felt like this was a mockumentary or some kind of, I don't know, it didn't feel like this was real to me. I don't know. Or it was just a fictitious thing. I don't know. But here's the interesting thing about that kind of that got me thinking about something else was if this woman actually did create this, and I'm not saying she did because I don't know that she did, but it would make sense in a way to cover this story up with this cover story of, yeah, these guys, and von Braun was in on it. Well, what if von Braun was in on it with the Nazis earlier and this woman actually created it and they grabbed her and her invention real quick and they developed it, and then they started to look into the future and look at, do stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm saying that could make sense because I know that the Nazis were very big on inventing stuff and trying to get futuristic tech, and they did at one point connect with, I think it was the gray aliens, as far as I could tell, the Nordics they're called, some kind of alien race that gave them tech. So was this tech that maybe they got given, or was this tech that this woman just managed to create? And I don't know, but it's sort of an interesting rabbit hole you can go down. So that's my sort of surface dig on the Chronovisor and the Chronoscope, and maybe you can go down the rabbit hole further and see if you can find any more info. But that was an interesting rabbit hole to fall into. So with that, I'll talk with you guys soon on my next dig to whatever that is that I do. All right, take care and be well.